Okay, hello there, Gia.
Hi, Keisha.
Hi. We have a special guest today. His real name is Adam Belanoff, but we're going to call him Bob today. Okay, and what you should know about Adam is that he's had a very long and successful career in TV as a writer and a producer. Beginning with what, Adam? The Cosby Show.
Oh gosh, before that, I wrote half an episode of Star Trek Next Generation.
Yeah,
Which
that's what I thought Gia would
Oh
find
my
very
God.
interesting. Go
yeah,
ahead, Gia.
Oh,
it's a fan non-favorite. It's called the Masterpiece Society. I think it was fifth season, but
I've watched that episode, believe it
yeah,
or not.
it's
Yeah.
particularly unremarkable.
No, I
But
thought it was good. That was the only episode I've ever watched, and I enjoyed it.
oh,
I don't
Gia, do you wanna
I don't
gush a
know it
little
by
bit,
I
Gia?
don't know it by name, but I feel like I
it
can't
was a
believe you withheld this information from me.
Well, I thought
Why?
you would like to discover it from
uh,
Adam or Bob
Okay.
himself.
yes, that's okay. This
Well,
one
yeah,
is
I'm kind of a Star Trek geek, like just over the years, so that's very cool. That's
Yeah,
very
well, it
cool.
was a genetically engineered society under a biosphere threatened by a passing comet, and
Okay, yep, that's
and
ringing a bell.
yeah, yeah. So we have to the romance between Troy and the governor of the planet, kind of a young,
Yeah.
Oh,
dashing man.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
particularly why I think most fans don't rank it so highly. I think Troy romances are just tend to get the lower rankings. But
That's
what can I say?
interesting.
And no Borg, nothing as exciting as assimilating the captain into a
The
Borg or
Borg were
something.
very disturbing. That whole Picard with the Borg, and those were dark times. Uh, I mean, it was good. It was an awesome concept, but it was very disturbing.
Mm.
And you don't even know what we're talking about,
No, no, no. I know
Keisha.
absolutely. Of course, everybody
No,
knows
no,
Borg.
Keisha up
Oh,
there.
Keisha
I
doesn't.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't know
No.
any of that.
yeah.
No. Gia has made fun of me for not having any sort of Star Trek background.
Yeah, I'll make a reference to like something about, oh, that one's got a
The
red
red
shirt
shirts,
on.
right?
And she has
Yeah.
no idea
Right.
that,
Yeah. No, the Borg was this tennis player who actually
Oh.
was a yeah,
Oh, as like Bjorn Borg?
exactly. Um,
All
yeah.
right. Now I'm
I watched
listening.
Star Trek last night. I watched whatever that weird one what's it called? Enterprise with Scott Bakula.
Oh, right,
Oh.
right. That was
That,
another
it's
one.
got a weird like Canadian opening song that doesn't sound like any of the other Star Trek songs. It's
Hmm.
weird. But it was interesting because Cyrus Renault was on it and playing a bad guy,
Oh,
of course.
he's
I mean,
an
he
act.
wasn't
He's a
Cyrus,
character
but
on General Hospital.
yeah, we don't know
Oh,
anybody's real names.
okay.
No, including our
Wow.
own. Okay, so
Anyway,
yeah, so
okay,
that
carry
was your
on.
beginning. That
That was
was
the
your
beginning,
beginning.
and
Yep.
then from there
Then
into sitcoms for many
yep.
years.
Yep.
Wings and
Mhm.
Murphy Brown, and then yes,
Yep.
Cosby, the name that
Mhm.
we don't like to speak so often these days. And then and
Sure.
before that was Partners with John
Oh,
Cryer,
yeah,
which was
yeah, we have John Cryer. Uh-huh.
yeah, very fun show that only lasted a season. And then
Mm.
Titus,
Yep.
and What About Joan, which we did in
Oh, yeah,
Chicago.
Joan Cusack. That's
Joan
right.
Cusack,
That's
right,
right.
right.
Yeah.
And then at some point along that line, I made the switch into 1 hour drama. And that
Yep.
was when I wrote an episode of Judging Amy, and then I worked on The
Mhm.
Closer and Major Crimes. And that's
Right.
almost like
Yep.
30 years right there.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good for
That's very impressive. Very
Well,
a
impressive.
career
That's
in
I
television.
worked. I can say that I did actually work for many of those years.
Yeah,
So,
I
yeah,
think that's fair. Yeah.
yeah.
And but never made it into the soap opera world, huh, Adam?
No, I have to say, although one of the big bones of contention with my ex-wife, who you knew, Carol, right? My ex-wife,
Yeah, a little bit.
was that I couldn't get her to watch Raging Bull, but there was always a stack of VHS tapes filled with All My Children that she
Oh,
loved, and
okay.
that was a real
Yeah.
Dividing line. Okay,
Yeah, I see.
not,
I
not,
see. So
not the
that
one,
may have
not
soured you on the soap
yeah,
opera.
it didn't cause the rupture, but I think that was as close as I came to soap operas. Was watching
Yeah.
her watching All My Children.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah, but
Gotcha.
I'm so excited to know that Robert Gossett, who's truly a wonderful guy, is
Is he?
now, yeah, really just really one of the nicest actors that I've worked with over those many years. It was 13 years between those two
Yeah.
Ah,
shows, and he was on for virtually all of that.
Yeah,
He was
that's
shot. I don't know if you remember. Were you watching he took a bullet?
he
I
Uh,
took a
was
bullet.
watching. I
yeah,
think I
Hmm.
told you about it. You didn't know,
Hmm.
Keisha. You
and
don't
that's
know.
tough. Tough for an actor to get
Yeah,
Yeah,
shot.
to take a
that was a
bullet.
rough moment.
We killed a few people that year, and then they killed us. So I guess what goes around comes around. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So for
Was that
our listeners who don't know who Robert Gossett is by his real name, that's Marshall.
Marshall? Yeah.
Marshall, who
Well,
wears
that's
generally
pretty
a
good.
tiny hat, and he used to
Yeah.
carry a tiny clarinet case, but he doesn't anymore.
Does he have a little
We
soul patch? Because he's like a hep jazz cat, right?
Yeah.
He,
And we
So
absolutely hated it. We hated his character initially. I mean,
yeah, we
we were like
did.
bad mouth, and then there was a turning point, and I don't know what it was,
I
but
think the people around him became even less likable, so he started to look good.
oh, that's a
Yeah.
trick.
Yeah, it
yeah,
is.
that
I
might
feel
be
like
it.
that's what happens a lot, with some
Make
of
other
these
people.
bad characters.
Hmm.
But yeah, so we like him pretty well now. And
Yeah, yeah. Actually, he's been one of the more sensitive, likable. Well, and he quit doing all that, like, yeah, man, that sort of scat jazzy talk. He was. They were really landing on pretty thick with him
yeah,
for a
people
while.
never like it when I scat either.
I
It's
know. Well, you've got the
sort of an
loony now to help
underappreciated
with
art,
that.
I think. Right?
Agreed.
And
Yeah.
Adam, or
Yeah.
Bob, sorry, Bob. Bob has a piano there, and Gia is also a musician.
No
We
kidding.
Well,
sometimes
that's.
What do you
that
play
that's
there?
not a lie. That's
What
not a lie,
What do you
Gia.
play, Gia?
I'm a hack. I play the harmonica.
Well, good. Well,
Blues,
Yeah.
blues harmonica, sings,
nice.
and also
I should apologize to my parents for the money for my education because it's by
well,
the wayside now. But
between the music career and this podcast, you don't
this
think they'd be proud?
podcast, right? They'd be so proud, wouldn't they?
Uh,
Mm.
Oh
No,
boy.
our families know.
Yeah, I know. They never expected this. And I don't think,
Yeah, yeah,
if you want to really lose friends or stop a conversation in its tracks, you tell people you have a podcast.
yeah. And you wear your T-shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, we both have our podcast t-shirts.
oh.
We're so
You should
cool.
send him.
I know.
I think it would be a
So
great
cool.
conversation starter, honestly. But interesting to know that. I will actually start to, when I want a conversation to end, I will just
Yeah, if you
see,
feel like
Yeah,
see
you've
how it
become
works.
too popular, that just say, I was on a General Hospital podcast.
It's an
yeah.
experiment. I will see. I'll report back. You can have me
Yeah,
back.
I mean, Gia is really like my only friend at this point.
Well, that's been that way for a while. I mean, I think we were both
Can't blame.
heading that way long before the podcast. So.
Yeah, now we have
And then
something to
we started
blame, I
talking
guess.
about, bar shampoo, and that really
Yeah, yeah,
Bar
that's true.
shampoo.
And Bob, you can see us. You can see the results of a week of bar shampoo.
Yeah. And I think I was trying to show this haircut, which was I think it was $18. And I could have
Worth every
done
penny,
it with a
Gia.
weed
Yeah,
whacker myself.
it looks like 25, honestly.
Oh, thank you.
It
That's
really does.
He's a gentleman. I
when
look
you
like
walk
Weird
in
Al
the
Yankovic.
No. So are we going to talk about this? Because I actually did not own a bar of a bar shampoo until you brought it
Yeah,
up in your email. So now
yeah.
I feel, at least in terms of the concept, I'm a total convert. The results I'm still waiting. Today's was about only my second use because, here's the story. So I love Harry's products, Harry's razors and Harry's
Okay.
shaving cream. And I was at the CVS about 2 months ago, and I saw Harry's shampoo was on sale, like like buy one, get the second one half off. So it wasn't even like
Okay.
a massive sale, but I thought, like, I loved everything else. I bought it. And then the first time I used it, I thought, this is terrible. But now I own 2 bottles of it. So I've
Okay.
been determined to, like, you ever that, you ever get that?
Yeah.
It's like when you buy like a big bag of fake Oreos, but you just got to eat them all, the high drops or something,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
because you just don't want to throw them out. So I'm
Yeah.
finishing up the Harry's
Uh-huh.
shampoo while I wait to fully indulge
Uh-huh.
in the bar shampoo. But
Yeah.
I like the
And
idea. It's very
it is
pretty.
a good idea. It's a good idea. And we've had mixed results, right, Gia?
we've had ups and downs. Yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah.
the last ones I'm trying, they don't seem to soap up as well, and so I think I'm putting it way too much on my hair, and so then I'm not really rinsing it all up. I think if you let go of the concept of suds,
Yeah,
you can
Mm.
suds.
easily kind of,
Suds. That's a myth, I think, created by the liquid shampoo people
yeah,
to
yeah.
convince you that
So
suds equal cleanliness. Okay.
the evil in the world. First, it's the plastic
Yeah.
people, and then the suds people.
Yeah, the
Yep.
suds people. That's a real racket. So, Adam, can you tell us about your Pinkalicious experience, like in
Yeah,
more
yeah,
detail?
yeah. Well, just that it's a bar, I would say like 2 inches square, 2 inches by 2 inches by 1 inch. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I could run to the bathroom and bring it up and hold it up if you're really interested. If you guys want to go on a detour and let me do, or just take it. It's like a pink bar,
Yeah.
squarish, and nice smell to it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and after just a couple of uses, it seems almost exactly the same size. I think it's like an everlasting gobstopper of
Yeah.
shampoos where I could just be
Uh-huh.
using this for
Yeah.
years and years.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I don't have a ton of hair, but I sense it will last a long
Uh-huh.
time.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, I do think that if I had oily hair, it would probably be just right because I do sense that it's probably a little drying. But
Uh-huh.
jury's out. Jury's out.
Yeah. Okay. I
You're a
feel
very
like
good sport for trying it. That's
Well, again, the idea. I mean, all those plastic bottles and everything
mm-hmm.
else.
Mm-hmm.
And if it lasts for a year or even
Sure.
6 months, that would be
Mm-hmm.
a very great, a good thing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway, no, I'll have to report back.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like men, like if you had shorter hair, it would be a lot easier to use bar
Yeah,
shampoo.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
yeah.
That's why I was thinking about cutting my hair off.
Mm.
I'm glad you waited till after this.
Yeah.
I, I
Yeah.
I have a sense that it must have come from military applications, right? I mean, is
Oh.
that? I bet. I mean, it just has the feeling of like with food rations would come a bar of shampoo.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
Like you could pack
Yeah.
it in your backpack, and
Uh-huh.
but I
Yeah,
don't
you may
know.
be
That's
right.
just
Yeah.
we
I
don't
was
We
use
thinking more
haven't
like
margarine.
researched the origins, have we?
Yeah,
bohemian roots, really, more,
yeah,
is what
campers
I'm
or
thinking.
something.
But yeah.
People like
Yeah,
that would have
campers,
just
right. Yeah, yeah.
that
Uh-huh.
kind of thing. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I find that if I don't like the way a bar shampoo is performing, I just decide it's just regular soap
Yeah,
and I
right.
just use it as soap. So there's no real
It
loss,
is. I mean, there's it's a wide umbrella, the soap world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, I think there
But
was a time we all, at least once as a kid, tried soap as shampoo, right? Didn't you ever take that bar of
yeah.
regular
Yeah.
soap, Ivory soap, and
Uh-huh.
go like, well, this will
Yeah.
work, and kind of did in a weird kind of
Yeah.
way. So
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's true. Yep. All
All
right.
right. Can I ask some questions about some of the shows you worked on?
yeah, please.
Okay. So I watched. I don't think I watched every single one in order, but I watched The Closer.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
Like in reruns, probably,
hmm
actually, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest. And then, but I watched Major Crimes, and I think I watched that like front to back 2 or 3
mm,
times during the pandemic. Um,
Mm-hmm.
thank you. I
and
probably got 25 cents at least.
Yeah,
From
yeah,
that.
I hope you did. And I loved Mary McDonald. Is that her name? Mary
Yes,
McDonald.
absolutely. You
I
nailed
can't.
it.
I'm blanking on her character name in that, but I love that.
Sharon Rader.
Sharon, right,
Sharon.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, she was one of my favorites, and I loved her on Battlestar Galactica. Also, you don't have any ties to that, do you?
I don't, except that James Duff, who created The Closer and Major Crimes, was a huge Battlestar fan and really
Huh.
wanted Mary from that. And I don't know that you would remember this, but she was a villain. She was Kira's, Brenda Lee Johnson's nemesis when she was
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
introduced on
when
The
she came on
Closer.
The Closer, yeah, she was.
Yeah, and it's
Mm-hmm.
one of those things where, like, after a year or two, then you sort of make her the heroine, and it's kind of funny because people had to go through that whole,
Mm-hmm.
journey. But you can do
Mm-hmm.
it, like you did with
Mm-hmm.
Robert,
Yeah,
Robert
That's
Barr.
right.
exactly.
That's right.
And yes, when she was on The Closer, she was very thorny,
Yeah, she was trouble.
antagonistic, and like, yeah, yeah. And then they turned her into this sort of almost more wise. They turned her
Mm,
more into her character from Battlestar Galactica. She was kind of like we talk about Lasha, Keisha.
Oh yeah.
Being
Yeah.
this
Laura on General
yeah,
Hospital.
yeah, like this very sage, wise. There's this calmness about her. But
Yeah,
anyway, I thought it was a great show,
thank
and
you.
you killed her off too. Thanks a lot. Um,
Yeah, well,
you killed her off both those shows. Well, you didn't do it on Battlestar Galactica, but anyway, I was just
what,
wondering which show did you like better, Closer
oh
or Major Crimes?
gosh, which child do you like better?
Oh, I
Like,
know that's hard, but
no, no, no. I mean, they're
Oh,
really.
everybody has a favorite.
I had a yeah, that's true. I'm a mom's favorite, unless you might
Yeah.
admit it, but I know I am. It's funny. I mean, they were very different experiences. First, for me, The Closer was really my first time working on a staff show, and it was a very very well run show, and scripts were really tight. And I would give, as would I think all the other writers, James Duff, the creator, a lot. I mean, virtually all the credit for that, because he really had the voice of Brenda, literally from the first moments of the pilot, and could really keep things very tidy and orderly. And he also had a great story sense for murder mysteries. I mean, I think I read a couple of Encyclopedia Browns when I was a
Yeah.
kid, maybe one
Me
John
too.
Grisham, but they were not,
Uh-huh.
I mean, I wasn't there, and I could not really bring huge expertise in the field of constructing mysteries. But fortunately, I had great help with a really talented writing staff, and James to help me, and I was kind of able to bring kind of a quirky vision. I was really known, at least in the first few years of The Closers, the guy who wrote the Provenza and Flynn
Yeah,
comedies.
the funny episodes. Uh-huh.
The wacky,
oh,
they let us do
Uh-huh.
that's
kind of a
cool.
little bit of a wacky episode every now and again, and
Mm-hmm.
and then I also got to write some really dark ones. So
Mm-hmm.
no, it was really a very nurturing experience, and a great one for me. By the time we got to Major Crumbs, we've been doing it for a while, so it's hard to say that I had the same sort of excitement, 7, 8, 9 years in, as when
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we were
yeah,
starting and
yeah.
figuring it out. But it all comes down from the top, and we were very lucky to have such a talented, executive producer, showrunner. So that was really good. I mean, it's funny. Every experience really has been, I think, mostly defined by the writers' rooms, and they vary tremendously, through the comedies, and obviously through these dramas that I've been talking about. But you know, made great friends. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
writers, the neurotic guys always, and women who were always trying to make each other laugh and top each other and all of that. It's a fun place to be. You've seen the Dick Van Dyke Show, so I guess you
Yeah.
have a little sense of what goes on, when
Mhm.
closed the door. We're not as funny as that, but anyway.
Well, that's how much like how does I did watch the Dick Van Dyke Show, but that was a long time ago. So
Sure.
how does the collaboration work? Like, are you given an episode to write, or are you like
Yeah.
given a character to
The
deal with?
way
Or
do you want to? I mean, I'm happy to really dig into this, but I know you guys got General Hospital to talk about and stuff. So do you want me to give you? Can I give you a longer explanation, or
Yeah,
how
sure,
much you want?
sure.
All right. So, both in half hour, and I only worked in the four cameras. I didn't work on any single camera comedies like The Office, or Modern Family. And the 1 hour dramas that I've talked about, The Closer and Major Crimes, you have a writing staff that's anywhere from 8 to 12 people. And on the dramas, and I guess it was pretty much the same with the sitcoms, you generally take 1 week at the beginning, before in pre-production, just to discuss what the major arcs would be for the year if you were going to have a serialized elements. As we really got more, we had more and more serialized elements as we moved along through major crimes. Then we had three-parters and things like that. Originally on The Closer, they were all sort of one-offs, but we always would pick a theme for a season, like partnership or a woman in a man's world, or those kind of sort of general themes. And then we would just fill a whiteboard, with 60 to 80 one-liners. I mean, literally, we'd all
Hmm.
try to contribute 5 to 10 one-liners, maybe 60. And it would be like death in the yoga community, or mistaken identity death, or just very kind of broad notions. And then we would go around the room, around the, I should say, the table, like a pitching rotation. And Adam, you pitch this idea. Do you have a feel for it? And we'd sort of decide, well, okay, this is going to be the next story. And I would be, let's say, helming it. We'd all work on it collectively, sort of pitching ideas, coming up with the major story beats, and then we would fill whiteboards that were on all the walls with, literally fade in Act One, Scene One, opening, the murder room, or where the murder scene, let's say, and where it is and time, and we literally, we pitch out each scene, and then the writer or team of writers would go off with a pile of notes and come back 2, 3 weeks later with an outline, get notes from the showrunner, and then go and write a first draft. And that was the process. And then James would usually take his pass, the showrunner's pass on the script. Big difference there on a sitcom is after the showrunners would do their pass, they would bring it back to the writer's table for a punch up. So we'd literally take one full day before, let's say, a Monday table reading. We would take a Friday before to just go through. Anyone have a better joke at the bottom of page 2? Anyone have a better below that is the out for this particular scene or the end of the act? And we'd incorporate all of those changes. And then, on a sitcom, you'd go to a table on Monday, you'd read it with the actors, you get notes from the studio and the network, and then you just rewrite every day until you shot it on Friday night in front of a studio audience.
Wow. So it really, really is a true collaboration then, it sounds like. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, the great thing, I mean, the on the plus side, you always know you've got help. You've got somebody in the office next door who can hopefully help you unravel some knot in the plot that you've hit or some other problem. But, I think if you really want to have true authority over your work, you become a novelist, right? Or even then, you probably have an editor. But hopefully, but I mean, I think you don't get in it because you really want to, be an auteur. You go into television, I think, because you want and expect to be a collaborator, and that's how it works.
Well, cool. Thank you.
Sure.
Keisha.
Well, I'm wondering.
I'm monopolizing.
No, that's okay, Gia. We had some strike questions, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're wondering, like, with the soap operas still running, do you know much? Can you explain why the soaps aren't affected yet by the strike?
It's funny. I mean, I assume that all of those writers are non-WGA members or working under non-WGA contracts. There's still a lot of people who write in the business, including animation writers, many who are not working under WGA contracts. I might be mistaken, but I think it was The Simpsons who finally converted their staffs over to a WGA contract, and I think maybe it was 20 years ago, but many years after animated shows have been on the air. I think it's we're trying to bring all of those people into the fold. But it's been a slow process, and unfortunately, a lot of the people that we would have liked. I think, I mean, I can't speak for the Writers Guild as a policy, but for example, there's a lot of writing that happens on reality shows, and so I remember during the last strike, it was very frustrating because as much as we wanted to bring in reality writer producers, they were continuing to working, and they were being loaded up with work because they were at that point really keeping the network's schedules full, since they were not getting the Conan O'Brien's or Jay Leno's or all of that stuff. They could count on at least the reality shows coming in. So I don't know, but I mean, I guess it's good for soap viewers, not so good for us.
Yeah, we're feeling kind of like stinkers for watching General Hospital right now.
Well, and we don't know who's writing it right now. Is it the scab writers at the moment, or we keep saying that, but we don't know.
Yeah,
we're blaming a lot of stuff we don't like on the fact that it might not be the regular writers, but we could be totally wrong. I don't know.
I would check those credits. I'm sure they're out, and see who's doing it. I honestly don't know who was writing it and who is writing it, but not WGA people, I'm sure.
Yeah. And so now the actors are talking about striking too. Is that right?
Yeah, we're getting right down to it. I think their contract expires, in these next several days. I thought it was the 30th or maybe I think July 1st is when
Uh-huh.
it expires. So it would be great if they are out with us. The DGA, recently went through their own negotiation and ratified a contract within the past, I don't know, week or so.
Hmm.
So I guess it's good for them. It'd be nice to have as much labor support among the other unions, and certainly, look, if
Yeah.
the actors went out and the writers were out, I think that would really um,
Yeah.
stop things. I mean,
That
right
would
now,
shut
Yeah.
things down.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would have some
yeah,
impact.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot that's still happening. I have friends who are work on the other side of Teamsters and other labor in New York, for example, where they're still doing a lot of movies and other things. Still have
Hmm.
a lot of scripts that are ready to be shot.
Uh-huh. Huh.
So
Interesting.
yeah, it's a
Well,
long hot summer on the pavement here. That's all I can say.
yeah, well, we're
Yeah.
certainly pulling for you and hoping that this resolves itself.
Thanks. Well, we've been getting a lot of support. I mean, honestly, I have only heard nice things being yelled at us as we are
I'm sure that's true.
pigeting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not always the case, and I think it
Yeah.
will probably not so much be the case when other people's jobs start to
Uh-huh.
shudder as a result.
Yeah.
When other people are really out of work too, because scripts are not
Hmm.
being done. But we'll see.
Right. Right.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Did you have any more strike questions, Gia?
I don't think so. I just was kind of wondering. I mean, I think we figured out why, that the soap actors and writers are somehow in some other category. Um,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, I've seen Instagram posts, where they're supporting what's going on verbally or whatever, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
even out there with them. But yeah, but we feel conflicted because we're a couple of old ladies who want our stories, to keep going.
Sure, you
Yeah.
know what? Everyone wants their stories, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a good thing. I mean, are you guys aware of what sort of the major issues are that we're striking over, besides just sort of generally, like, better compensation?
No,
Um,
I guess we're not really that aware of anything
Are you
beyond that.
interested? Because I can
Yeah,
talk.
yeah, go ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Share with us.
Yeah. All right. Well, some of the big problems that really have come up in the past several years are around the size of writers' rooms, for example. Never really had to be legislated or sort of put in contracts that you would have writers' rooms with 8 or 10 or 12 people. I mean, the studios really wanted to produce great shows for the networks, and the way you did that
Mm-hmm.
was to put a full staff of experienced writers. And more the studios are really pushing to make showrunners often the only talent to sort of pull things from beginning to end, and sort of hiring a minimal number of people to help out, and to fire those people, put the people on weekly salaries, and then to get rid of them absolutely as soon as they possibly can. And I think one of the sort of things that's been very important, the business really is important for me, was I from almost the very beginning, I think I was on a weekly salary for about half a year 30 years ago, and then I was on a per episode. As a story editor, then a co-producer and a producer. And really, what that meant was that I was around from beginning to end, really until the last episode was edited and ready to go to air. And so there's a lot that you absorb as a future producer just by being there for the whole process. And when they really say, well, look, we're just going to hire a minimal number of writers for 6 weeks and lay them off,
Mm-hmm.
then these are people who, first off, are not going to earn very much compared to
Mm-hmm.
what they would have earned, but also
Mm-hmm.
they just don't get that experience. And really, what happens is that a showrunner is responsible for seeing that everything gets done, and suddenly people are just saddled with tons of work. It was really what happened to me on my last show, which was Fantasy Island. Was the
Mm-hmm.
first season when they hired me, they had me really the first time in 30 years on a weekly salary.
Mm-hmm.
And they said at some point after, well, I guess it was about 6 weeks, we just don't have money. So, send me home from Puerto Rico. And it really left these guys just with, you know, 80 plus hour work weeks, and real frustration. So we're trying to mandate minimums, for depending on what the show is going to produce for and how many episodes, but just to ensure that there will be a minimum number of writers. And I think it's a way of preserving a middle class of writers, because you'll if you go out and start searching, you'll find a lot of stories about people who run really good shows and
Mm-hmm.
aren't making a living.
Mm.
Sort of finish these short orders of 6 or 8 episodes of which they're hired
Huh.
for some lesser portion of them, in terms of the whole production cycle, and then are driving Uber or whatever else to sort of make ends meet.
Mm.
So that's
Yeah, that
part.
doesn't seem right.
That's
No.
part. And they're really
Uh-huh.
fighting, and that's a big fight. The other one is AI, which is
Mm.
a real issue. I think writers don't want to have to rewrite an AI draft, and we really are
Mm-hmm.
getting to the point where with proper instructions, you could probably get something that resembles a shootable script out of
Mm,
AI, and then hire a writer for a week to say, make this better. And I just
Uh-huh.
think that we don't want to be in that place. And so far, I think the only thing that the consortium, it's called the AMPTP, the Association of Motion Picture Television Producers, is a yearly discussion to sort of the state of things, but they're not willing at this point to at all restrict the use of
mm.
artificial intelligence. So want to catch
Mm.
that one, nip that one in the bud.
Yeah.
So and these are thorny things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
I wouldn't have thought of that. I hadn't even thought of that.
No.
Wow.
That's so depressing to think of.
Yeah,
yeah, but it's
Because
real.
AI
yeah.
can't draw from personal experience at all, like like you did,
Yeah.
right, Ada?
No, I had to go through that pain myself. I had to, whatever, have
Yeah.
due
Imagine
dates and
imagine
divorces.
the plagiarism problems from AI now, in
Huh.
like,
Yeah.
composition 101 is going to be very hard for the
Yeah.
professors to,
That's
Yeah.
it. I mean, one of the issues is that obviously to feed AI, you just dump in all of this material, and I think there's an issue about all of our material being hoovered up by the
Uh-huh.
machine, and
mm,
and no
Uh-huh.
compensation there for
yeah.
Yeah.
having absorbed and then
Huh.
spit back material
Mm-hmm.
based on what we collectively have come up with. So
Mm-hmm.
these are some of the issues.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Hmm.
to my knowledge, there's
That's
been no meetings since we went out on strike. There have been no sit downs between our negotiating committee. One of the other things is that the AMPTP will only negotiate, was my understanding, is only negotiate with one guild at one time. So after us, it was the directors, and now it's the actors, and eventually, I guess they'll come back to us. But anyway, in the meantime,
mm,
money's not being earned. Shows are not
Yeah.
being made. So,
Yeah.
and so it goes.
mm.
Oy. Yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot for you to
Yeah,
have to deal with.
Yeah, it's
And
okay.
it's hard. Well, it's hard for, I think, us people out here in the world who have so much still to watch,
Yeah.
to imagine that writers are suffering. It seems like there should be so much work, and that everybody should be
Well,
able to get paid a living wage.
what I gather is I believe that Netflix thinks they can really wait us out, that they've got so much in the hopper and so much
Uh-huh.
already on that, whereas, the networks have their regular broadcast schedules, and I expect that they will really feel the heat much
Yeah.
sooner,
sooner,
Yeah.
right, right. Yeah,
than
Uh-huh.
the
yeah.
streamers. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, but there it
Hmm.
Hmm.
is.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well,
We
sheesh.
consume a rich diet of both, really.
Yeah, we sure do.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
We're both
but,
hooked on ER right now.
Oh, how
yeah,
far? Did you go back to the beginning?
Yeah.
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 It was
I
really, it had
somehow
to,
I'd missed the whole series when it was on, actually. So I was like, oh, this looks like it was got a lot of episodes. So we'll just, and I'm
oh.
learning a lot. We're learning a lot of vocabulary, and I feel
Yeah.
like I could
All
do
that
some.
pulsar stuff, and yeah, it's
Yep.
great.
I could do
Lavage. I
some
do a
mind
lot of lavaging.
operations. Yeah, a lot of lavaging. Yeah,
You got young George Clooney. You're
Yeah,
basically
yeah,
I think that's
yeah.
why I avoided the show initially because I didn't know what all the fuss was about. But and I still don't. But
okay.
No, I was gonna say, have you come around or anything or
not really. No, I
not
don't know who
really?
my favorite character is. Who do you think your favorite character is, Gia?
Well, probably, what's her name? The nurse.
Juliana
Oh yeah, yeah,
Margulies.
Juliana
Yeah, yeah.
Margulies.
You know,
Uh-huh.
the heart of gold nurse. You know, you can't.
Yeah.
She's good. Sherry Stringfield, though she leaves kind of early, but she comes
She,
back.
yeah, she leaves. Oh, does she? Oh, thanks.
Yeah, she
No,
returns, I think, in like season 8 or something, if I'm remembering
okay,
correctly.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you have a
but
favorite character, Bob?
um, did I have a favorite character? I liked the whole family. It was a great ensemble. I mean, I don't
It
know, like
really
500.
was. It
yeah,
Yeah,
it and I was telling Gia, like, I think there's a lot that General Hospital could learn from ER as
yeah. To
far
be
as
to
like,
be more of a medical drama. You know.
yeah, and because ER is so good at touching on everybody's storyline,
Oh
like,
yeah,
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
once a week, but you still keep up with
The
everybody,
pace, yeah, the pacing is
you
better.
know.
Yeah,
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 you never lose track of anyone. And I think like Benton, I think he's a really interesting character who's
yeah,
so hard to like, but
yeah,
yeah.
he's
Eric
complicated.
LaSalle. Yeah.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
a great actor who doesn't come in for a while, who I've gotten to know the actor Paul McCrane really pretty well over the years. He directed several episodes, and he's just a wonderful guy. Plays this character Romano, Dr. Romano, who won't come in. I'm going to say
Is he like real mean and he gets killed by a helicopter?
yes, bullet headed. Yes,
he
absolutely.
Yeah.
does.
Here's a funny
You're
story.
Sorry.
ruining it.
It's here's a funny story that I can
You'll
tell.
forget, Gia.
Okay.
Well, he should I say and a helicopter falls on him twice. So when you see the first maybe I should have told. Now I've really spoiled it because now when you see the helicopter, you go, wait, he survived.
No, it's coming back.
His arm only gets cut off the first time, but right, you'll forget all. I'll forget all of this. But he
Yeah,
plays this great surgeon who is miserable to everybody,
yeah.
just incredibly officious and terrible. And so Paul McCrane, who, by the way, if you remember the movie Fame, was the young
Uh-huh.
Monty in that. Remember that?
Oh yeah,
He had big red hair. He was just sort of
yeah,
trying
yeah, yeah.
to come to
Uh-huh.
terms with his homosexuality and stuff. Anyway,
I
so
was so young when that came out.
mhm,
Oh yeah, sure, sure, Gia.
um, Paul's, I think his son was being born. Anyway, it was a long delivery, and he ended up in the cafeteria at Cedar Sinai, in sort of the bowels of the building. And he was walking through the hallway, and a couple of interns were walking by. And he's a very friendly guy. He said, "Hi, how's it going?" And they kind of shielded their eyes and kind of and he realized that they thought that he was Dr. Romano about to shoo them out. And so
Uh,
like the power of being on a really well known show. It's funny
yeah.
because talking to all right, sorry, I'm in this zone, but Michael Pressman is a director I'm very close to who directed a lot of Chicago Hopes, and he was
Hmm.
telling me a story about Hector Elizondo, who was
Mhm.
also he played a lovable doctor, I guess, on that
Mhm.
show, and I think he had an issue. It was actually, I think, during shooting. I don't know, maybe he passed out or something. He went to the hospital, and he ended up sitting near a family, and it was a young man who said, "Listen, I have something to ask you. Would you mind telling my mother that everything is going to be okay?" He said, "Well, I'm an actor. I'm not a doctor. It will just, but you're saying it. She knows you as this character,
Uh-huh.
and it really could make the
Yeah,
difference
yeah.
for her." And so he did.
Uh-huh.
Apparently, a very nice guy said,
Uh-huh.
"The best doctors here. You're going to be great. Don't worry about a thing." So anyway, no,
That's
Yeah.
funny. Yeah.
Now,
true story.
Adam Arkin was on Chicago Hope, wasn't he?
Uh, he was. Alan died today.
That's
Yeah.
what I was gonna say. It's so
Mhm.
sad. Alan Arkin was one of my all-time favorite
Uh,
actors. I had
such a
such a crush on him, and I watched The In-Laws recently, and God, if anybody out there hasn't seen The In-Laws, I think that's a perfect movie. It's so
yeah.
funny, so
He's
funny.
brilliant in that. I mean, they're really. I mean, it's such a cliche. There was nobody like this person, but
Yeah,
truthfully, you can think of like so many roles where you go like, all right, we could get Brad Pitt for that, or
right,
whatever, But
right.
he was like always unique, and he
Yeah.
never gave. I mean, I never saw him give a bad, certainly performance that I didn't love. And
Hmm.
he was a really good guy. Did you see him around town? I mean, you must have seen him every now and again back in
And no, and I
Chicago.
was looking for him.
All right. Okay. So occasionally, yeah. All right. So we would do this thing. Remember, day 7 in Greeley, and
Uh-huh.
occasionally he would come and like do a lecture, or for film
Oh.
study class they showed
Uh-huh.
Poppy, which is a movie that
Uh-huh.
he couldn't make today because he wouldn't be cast playing a Puerto Rican waiter,
Uh-huh.
which he was.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how well that holds up. But because they would sort of use him, kind of mix him up between like Hispanic characters, and anyway, but um, but he was always just really warm and generous, and got to meet him a few times over the years. Adam was a guest character on The Closer, and also directed a couple of episodes, at least one of my episodes,
Uh-huh.
and then Matt, his Adam's younger
Brother.
brother, has remained a good friend, and actually stayed with us for
Uh-huh.
quite a while when he first came out to L.A. from New York. So wonderful people, and
Hmm.
it was '89, but it's always
Yeah.
too soon.
Yeah. Yeah. And that reminds me, Adam was on a few episodes of Monk, right?
Right? Yeah, I did know that.
And Tony Shalhoub
A bit, yeah,
from
and
the Wings.
another, like, I'm so glad you keep bringing up all of these
Well, he's
great
another one that
actors.
I have a crush on, Tony
Yeah,
Shalhoub.
and super,
I have a
super.
type.
Super. I mean, amazing actor. Great on Wings. Great on everything he's done. I actually
Yeah.
got to say a fast hello to him a few years ago when he did the band's visit on Broadway, and was, of course, wonderful in that. I've missed
Hmm.
most of Mrs. Maisel, so I'm sure he's great in
Hmm.
that. But these are really, really. I mean, off the podcast, I could tell you stories about the people who were just miserable. But on the record, I'm glad you're bringing up
Uh-huh.
all the really good guys.
Oh,
So
good. Well, I'm glad to hear that they're good guys. I love him on Monk. I can still watch Monk over and over again.
yeah, it's funny because, like Alan Arkin, also one of those,
Yeah.
and as good at as accomplished at drama as
Hmm.
in comedy.
Yep. Yep.
I don't know if you ever saw The Heart Is a Lonely Hunter, where
Carson McCullers. Yeah.
yeah, Alan Arkin plays this
Uh-huh.
mute, hearing
Hmm.
impaired character, and amazing. And Wait
Hmm.
Until Dark, right? I
Hmm.
mean, playing the killer, the stalker.
Somebody
So
was talking. Somebody was talking about Wait Until Dark at Walmart today. The cashier.
what?
Yeah, we've come full circle. Yeah, Gia had a experience at Sam's Club recently that sort of made her turn into a ball, and I had the
Oh
similar experience at Walmart
no!
today.
Oh
Sometimes you
yeah,
just have to
yeah,
go there, and
yeah. There's stuff that's only from one of those places, and
yeah,
Is it
yeah.
it's like the
from the other patrons, or from the help, or what? What's the
oh no,
It's
just the general. No, I mean
big
nobody was
box?
the
cruel to me or anything. It
atmosphere,
was
I would
just I was
say,
like,
is
yeah, it was
you just
like,
feel like less of a person,
Yeah.
you know.
yeah, it's
And
just
but
so
the
packed
cashiers are
and
always really
so
chatty at Walmart, and usually we wind up talking about dogs. But she was talking about Wait Until Dark today, and
that's sort of
how
interesting.
yeah, yeah, she
Mhm.
couldn't remember. She's like it was a Hepburn, right? And it's yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and Richard Crenna, actually.
Uh
Do you remember
huh.
him? Oh, that's a great movie. I saw it recently. It really
Did you?
holds up. I
Uh
mean, it's
huh.
really a filmed play. I mean, it was a play that became a
Yeah,
movie,
yeah, yeah.
but really pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Really pretty good.
Yeah.
So, well, if you guys have had enough of my TV stuff, you probably want to get into your show. So maybe this is a good
Into our
time,
hospital stuff. Well,
unless there's any remaining before I go off and do my Pinkalicious experiment for the next
well,
21 days and come back bald, or whatever it's going to do to me.
yeah. If you
So,
ever want to do a follow up, if there is something significant to report about
Right.
Pinkalicious or anything else we've covered here, you're
Yeah.
welcome anytime.
Well, as the strike goes on, if I have any more like reports from the pavement, I will bring them here
Okay.
first.
Okay. If there's
Yeah,
any
cool.
messages you want us to deliver to our people,
Yeah.
we have listeners as far away as Malawi.
No
It's just
Yeah.
kidding. Hello,
Yeah.
just
Malawi.
one. It's just one person, but
Yeah, and they only
Okay.
downloaded us once, so we may have lost Malawi.
Malawi may be gone.
Oh, well,
And then we had a listener in Russia who we're assuming was Putin, and then he must have got distracted with
He
something.
got
So
busy,
oh,
and
goodness.
yeah,
Well, any
yeah,
place where General Hospital can be watched, I hope people will be listening. So
yeah,
anyway, and if
yeah.
it could happen, I could run into Robert Gossett. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and
If
if you
he
do,
wants to come on the show, we'd be happy to have him.
yeah.
I will
Don't
definitely.
tell him to listen to our podcast because
At
we
least
really
not.
raked him into the coals for a while.
I'll say like
Once,
start at episode 46 or whatever. I'll say
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Because when he first came
yeah.
on, we try to keep
We were
saying it's the
merciless.
character, not the actor. We love but we
Right.
forget sometimes, and we're merciless. Like,
Yeah.
there's a character named Drew that I don't know if we will come around on Drew,
No, we're
but
not. Not yet. Not yet.
he
Mm-mm.
will never come on this show, I don't think.
No,
But
Oh,
no. Anyway,
we love Marshall now. So yeah,
all
yeah.
right.
that would
Well,
be
happy rest of your podcast and happy July 4th, you guys.
You too. Thank you
thanks so
so
much
much for
for coming
coming
Of
on.
on.
course. Really my pleasure. I'll see you guys soon.
Very
Okay, take
interesting.
care. Oop. He's
Oh,
gone,
okay.
everybody.
The
Look,
fun
there's
in the
Gio.
dark. Yeah. Should we turn our cameras off now?
Sure, we can. I guess we've seen enough of each other. Okay.
No, it doesn't really matter.
That
But
wasn't as bad as I thought, though, watching each other.
no, not so bad. But it kept getting darker in here, and I wasn't sure whether to turn a light on or not. But
Uh-huh. But
so are we going to keep on going here? You want to
yeah,
keep going?
we could do a little hospital review, I guess. We've got a few episodes and maybe just a few observations or things that stuck with you. Maybe not our usual
Okay.
exhausting
I can't get my
rambling.
camera to turn off.
That's okay, Gia. That's
Why
all
won't
right.
it?
Don't
All
worry,
right.
Gia. I don't want you to lose your connection altogether.
Okay. All right. So a few things that we want to say. I don't know. I
I'll
totally
start with
forgot.
something that I noticed.
Okay.
I think I noticed it today. Okay, so it's Drew's last night, right before he goes
Oh,
to the
right.
big house,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
rather than spending it with Scout, he's with Carly, and Sam is out at a bar with Dante.
Right. Oh, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about Sam being out too, but you're right. You're quite right.
So
Yeah.
Scout's just sitting
All
there
very
like,
concerned about, yeah. I was
you know,
like, I can't, they dragged out the whole Carly Drew scene,
oh
which I guess
yeah,
if I'd liked their relationship, I would have been pleased with that. But I was like, oh my God, enough already, people.
I know. He's touching her knee. How can she let that happen?
Yeah. But the other thing that I thought was, I think they're listening to us,
Yeah.
General Hospital, because Ava and Austin.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you
And
think about that?
well, I was a little bit shocked. I missed the first few minutes today. I was busy and I didn't turn it on, so I missed the first little chunk. But
Uh-huh.
and I thought they would I knew they were going to have a kiss, of course, but I didn't think they'd
Yeah.
take it right to the bedroom
To the
as
bed.
they
Yeah.
did. I
Yeah.
thought they were pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
Her trying to get him out of there and him being reluctant to go and seeming a little actually enamored of her.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they just keep changing this character on us.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Well, you don't really know if he's just a total squid now, right? I mean,
a
so
squid. That's a new one.
Yeah, well, he's not
Like
quite
a
a
Navy
douchebag.
term. Yeah. Yeah, not to douchebag level, but okay.
Right, but I don't know anymore who Austin is, and if he's just like acting just out of desperation, I guess that's one thing.
Yeah.
But as usual, it feels like there's another solution to their problem, rather than the one they're choosing, I think.
Which was to have sex.
Yeah.
diversionary tactic, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and I
Making
can't remember.
lemons and a lemonade, I guess, huh?
Right, right. Oh, I like what you did there. I just figured that out. I'm a little tired. I didn't get any sleep last night, and it throws your whole
Oh,
day,
yeah,
doesn't
from your
it?
new gig, how did that go?
Oh, it was good, but it wasn't really its fault. I wake up at the same time no matter what, like some people
Yeah.
can sleep all day. Like we have a mutual friend, we won't say her name, but it's Denise, and
Uh,
she was my roommate for a while, and she could, like, we'd stay up late and she'd sleep till noon or 1 o'clock the next day, and I'd be like, I can't
yeah,
do, I just pop up,
yeah.
at 7 kind of no matter what.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
So that's all. So I'm
Yeah.
elderly now, so I need
Yeah,
my
we're in our twilight years.
we are. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Uh
what we can expect from life now.
yeah.
Just
Anyway,
okay.
we should talk more about hospital, but I wanted to say, wasn't that interesting speaking to your friend Adam, the writer?
The writer, yeah, and I don't think I'd really realized how writers were being really sort of abused, with those
I thought it was all
short-term
about
contracts and things like that.
streaming or something like that. I didn't realize it was
Yeah,
literally the nuts and bolts
yeah,
of what the writers do.
like no
Um,
job security, basically,
right,
for
like being
most of them.
treated being too well. It kind of makes sense when you think about all, it's the man. It's always the man.
It's
You
always
know,
the
like
man
like colleges try to get by with just
with the
hiring
adjunct. I was
part-time
thinking that too.
adjunct
Yeah, yeah,
professors, and
yeah. I
and
was thinking that there's our
mm,
experience that was a little bit
yeah,
similar.
which is the way
Hmm.
they just save money, but it doesn't build um uh loyalty or trust, or like he was
Hmm.
saying, knowledge of the whole production business.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so yeah,
Hmm.
I hope they succeed. But interesting just to hear him, like, how many things he's worked on. And
Yep. He's had a
I
great
wanted to ask
career.
him if it was something he was interested in from the get-go, but I forgot. Like, how did he end up getting into that? Uh,
Hmm.
like,
He did go to graduate school in California for film, I guess.
oh, okay, so he meant to do
Yeah.
this. He didn't just
Yeah,
stumble
I
into it.
think
But
so.
anyway,
Yeah, and I think that Star Trek episode that he wrote, I think that was somewhere in like college years that he did that. It was quite a long
wow,
time ago.
that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah,
Wow,
and in high school he was always into the drama group stuff, so I think
yeah.
he was always going in that direction.
It's interesting to me to see people that kind of like know what they're doing in life,
I know. Because
And
he
then
was
I think,
doing all this
wow,
stuff in high school, like the writing, and all of it. So
yeah,
it
what
was
a gift
always
to
like,
like know what your
yeah,
bliss is early on,
yeah. I was
and
just
go
trying
for
like
it
to
and
be
plan.
invisible in high school, you know.
Right, right. I
Yeah.
hear you. I think I was trying to be visible was what, you know. I think I
Yeah,
was
that
invisible,
too.
but
Sort
I
of
wanted
sort
to
of
be
both at the
visible.
same time, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, anyway, but so we should probably, I don't know. We've gone
Oh,
on a long time.
we
You
did
want
have
me
a
to
lot. We
count?
had, oh gosh, what's concerning, I think, is the Esme Spencer thing that's happening.
Oh, yeah, and a real life bit of information. You may have seen this
Yeah,
that has
yeah.
me concerned. Are you also concerned about Spencer?
About his leaving. Yeah, I
Yeah,
am
yeah.
concerned. Yeah.
We're
And I
getting the
guess,
same Google feed.
yeah,
Yeah, and to
we
play
are.
one of those yucky real life
Yeah,
Menendez
Menendez
brothers that,
brothers. I
like,
know. I'm sure that would be a fun
ugh,
role for him, but yeah. I
ugh.
hope he gets to use his arms in that role.
I'm sure.
Maybe
If
that's
only
why they
to
hired
kill.
him.
I can't remember how those horrible boys killed. They killed their
I
parents,
know.
right?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
remember how they did it, but how, like, well, I hope that doesn't taint his thinking about life or anything, going to that dark space.
Right.
Um,
And we don't know if he'll come back or what the arrangement will be. So we'll just have
right,
to
right.
wait and see. But yeah.
So you're disturbed by Spencer and Esme's interaction today? Is that what you're
Well, they definitely
implying?
made some progress, don't you think? Sort of at least as
Yes,
being civil to
yes,
each other and sort of bonding, even, I think.
yes, yep, yep. Oh,
Yeah.
what a tangled web.
Oh,
Um,
Gia. Oh,
yeah,
Gia.
and Trina now, as much as I love Trina, is
Mm-hmm.
kind of doing the thing I complain about men doing
With
to
the
a lot of the
men, yeah.
females. Yeah,
Yeah.
where they're kind
Mm-hmm.
of like holding like all the
Mm-hmm.
cards and holding like being the
Yeah.
judge of like how you
Mm-hmm.
need to be
Yeah.
worthy of me.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know how that's going to play out. Um,
Yeah, and I was going back and forth, like when Portia was talking to Esme and sort of like
for the parenting class
manipulating her
thing.
into the parenting
Yeah.
class. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, Portia, Portia. But then when she was talking to Trina and saying, don't make your life smaller, there's all the whole world. And I started to think, even if she liked Spencer, maybe she's got a point, I'm not sure anymore.
Yeah.
I can see any mother sort of thinking that way.
Right. It's just because it's a soap opera, so she's going to be devious and try to
Yeah, that's the only part I don't like.
manipulate things. But
Yeah.
yes, any parent would be concerned with somebody getting
Mhm.
involved with such a messy
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah, but I also was thinking, oh, it's gonna be a long summer if these are our characters the whole,
I know. Yeah, it
And then
is.
the Jordan,
Ugh. Yeah.
Curtis, Zeke thing,
Zeke. Yeah.
and Curtis was wearing some weird jacket that was,
Yeah. The
I looked in
jacket
the
still looked
trailers. It was
cheap,
an
but I kind of liked
ill-fitting.
the
Uh,
shirt. I think he could have
okay,
lost the jacket, but yeah.
all right.
But yeah, I like
Mac lost his shirt. What'd you think of that?
he sure
I
did.
thought it was a funny little scene.
Mhm.
where they have what's his name, Martin, like
Martin.
going, oh, intimidated by Mac's chest. I
Yeah.
thought that was funny.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
That was
I,
pretty
I
cute.
like the idea of Felicia sort of sniffing around Martin to see what's
Yep,
happening
she'll
there.
figure it out. Felicia's
She
the
will.
brain for this
Yep.
whole town.
Yep.
We now know.
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be nice if that was really like what started to sort of slowly rise to the surface, that Felicia really
yeah,
is.
she's a sly one. She's a.
Yep. Mhm.
Well, is she? Would she be a sleeper or a dark horse
Yeah,
or
sure.
you
She's
know,
sort of
like
the unassuming kind
she's
of.
flying under the radar, but
Yeah, totally.
really, yep,
Mhm.
yep. As
Yep.
opposed to all the ones that are out there flailing their arms around.
Yeah, with their guns in the back of their pants and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, we had some stuff. We had a fair amount of stuff happen
We did
today.
have a fair amount of stuff,
Um,
yeah. Mm.
so I don't know, but I'm just worried about the strike and everything, and I'm feeling sort of guilty for watching.
I know.
Maybe we
I
should be out
know.
there in the 92-degree heat, like marching around. You know.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe that's why like it seems like soap actors don't get the sort of respect, from like the other acting community because there's
That
some
was
sort of
Is there resentment because but maybe they don't feel like they ought to be part of it because I mean,
right,
would
yeah.
they, like, would they be
Mhm.
snobby and think that they shouldn't be part of it? That was the other
Yeah.
question I would have asked. We have to
Mhm.
have him back.
Yeah.
Adam was, in what regard are soap writers and soap actors
Uh-huh.
held by the other
Yeah.
um, shows? Is there a big line drawn between them? Is it like, oh
Uh-huh.
my God,
Yeah,
they're the
that
soap
would I would
writers,
like to hear his answer to that. He'd probably be pretty diplomatic, but
or is it like, a gig's a gig and writing's writing? You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
but I
Hmm.
was curious. I'd be curious about that.
Yeah. It is interesting. Well, and actually since he knows Robert Gossett, it's interesting because a lot of actors, it seems like their goal is to use a soap opera as a springboard, right? To either a
Right,
primetime show or a
right. Like
movie
Demi
career.
Moore and the various people that
Yeah.
have gone on, and
Yeah.
then they started on a soap, and
Yeah,
yeah,
but some people do come back, like Robert
yeah,
Gossett,
yep.
and Allie Mills, who played Heather, most recently.
Oh
She
yeah,
had a
right.
night,
Yeah,
so it's
yep.
not sort of something that people don't do ever. And it seems kind of
Um,
cool when they do that.
I think so. I mean, and the real life Franco being on there for a while was
Yeah,
kind of,
yeah,
like just because he
uh-huh.
wanted to be, and of course Brick. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
There
Of
you
course,
go.
Brick. Yeah. Well, especially it seems like a lot of like ESPN, I think, is axing a lot of people. I don't think they've axed him yet, but I guess he's got his
Oh,
backup
are
career
they?
as Brick.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I just think, I mean, even more than another actor, somebody coming from like the cool macho sports world who
Yeah.
thinks like who's like cool enough with themselves to like, yeah, I better
Yeah.
be on a soap. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. And there's
rescue
probably
people
a lot
suck
of
it. You know,
jocks who watch soap operas, I'm sure like
they
they get
might, yeah,
stuck in
because
a
they probably have a
hotel
lot of
room or something.
downtime. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Did you see? I just recently I watched the episode of ER where George Clooney and a couple other people were watching a soap like in their
Yeah.
little like
Yeah. That was
lounge.
funny. Yeah. Yeah.
I like
Yeah. That
that.
was pretty funny. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering about the George Clooney thing too, because I think I may have also avoided it because I didn't get the big hoopla about George Clooney
Yeah.
way back then.
Yeah.
But
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah.
and I was struck by the thought that like I think he's more handsome as an older, mature man than he was
Uh-huh.
then, you know, and so I'm
Yeah.
thinking like what did people see then?
Yeah. And
Um,
his character is, he's definitely a questionable character,
right.
you
He
know.
gets redeemed more as time goes on, but
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he definitely has his good qualities and he's compassionate, in some
yeah.
ways, but yeah,
He's a
but
player. He's a player.
he's
But
definitely a player. He's a dog.
and I liked how Adam talked about the arc of the Mary McDonnell character from the closer
Uh-huh.
to,
Yep.
and there were a
Mhm.
couple characters that kind of got totally changed from one series to the next, but we just went with it.
Uh-huh.
We
Uh-huh.
just went with it, and that's what we do on soaps too. We're willing to,
Yeah, it's true.
yeah, we go
Yeah.
with it.
Mhm.
Should we say
Yeah.
anything else about General Hospital, or should we wrap this up?
Um,
I feel
hmm.
sorry for anybody who's still trying to listen because we've been on so long.
Yeah, we have been on long. I know. I'm sorry, everybody.
Jesus.
Well, I guess we're hitting the hour mark now. It's,
Oh my God.
could be. I
Wow.
guess we should wrap it up, Gia. And we
Okay.
apologize if we didn't cover enough hospital,
We'll
but
catch up next time. But we brought you
but
like a real life writer.
a
Wow.
glimpse into the world of television writing. Yeah.
Some content, some actual
Yeah.
solid content.
Yeah. A
Instead of
legitimate
nattering on, we still nattered on a little bit about bar shampoo, but he
yeah.
probably looked at both of us and been like, "Oh man,
No,
they've been
our
using
hair
this
looks
stuff for months.
ridiculous.
They look like clowns." But he seems like a real adult, and he couldn't say that, so that was nice.
He is, yeah. His dignity took a blow tonight, I think, but yeah, he was quite mature and handled us, I think, as
Yeah.
diplomatically as anyone could. Yeah.
Very interesting. I got lost in the references toward the end there with the highfalutin movies you two were discussing, but
Oh, did you ever see The
right.
In-Laws?
I don't think I did. When you said
Oh,
anybody who hasn't seen it, I was thinking I don't think I did, but I'll have to look for it.
yeah, it's Alan Arkin and Peter Falk, and it's so funny. It really
Okay.
is
Well, I
so
like
funny.
both, so I'm sure I would
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah, and they play like their kids are going to get married. Alan Arkin's daughter
Yeah.
is marrying Peter Falk's son, I think. Yeah, and Alan Arkin plays a dentist, and it's just so funny. Yeah.
Maybe I did, but like so many millions of years ago. Was it a
Yeah,
70s kind of
it
movie?
could have been it. So yeah, it was a long time ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it holds up so nicely as a comedy. Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Well,
all right, Gia.
this was a lot of fun to have a real
Yeah, it was a
like.
treat. And I knew you'd be
Yeah.
excited when you heard his Star Trek story.
I can't believe you withheld that. I really did have a little freak out. Like,
Yeah,
what?
sure.
Yeah. Anyway, very
Yeah.
cool. So thank
Anyway,
him again. If you talk to him again, tell him
I will.
thanks
Okay,
so much.
Gia. All righty.
All right, and thanks anybody who's still listening. We'll see you next time.
Yes. Thank you. All right, Gia. Good night.
Okay. See ya.
Bye.